y'all hear me okay now?
Yes. Good
Okay.
evening, everyone. My name is Tawana Rivers. This is 10K Project, and we have yet again another amazing Black founder here with us to support this evening. And we are super excited to share with you tonight's campaign, Honor Your Flow. It is on the Seat at the Table portal, on their portal. And so what I want to do is I want to share my screen. And I want to tell you a little bit about the campaign. And then I will turn it over to Cecilia to tell you about all of the amazing things that she and her team are doing at Honor Your Flow. And so can you guys see my screen? Perfect. So Honor Your Flow is on Seat at the Table's portal. And for those of you who remember, Seat at the Table is one of two Black-owned equity crowdfunding portals. I just heard recently that By the Block has closed its doors. So it used to be three. And so now you've got Seat at the Table and Crowd Wall Street. And they're getting ready to launch really, really soon here as well. So super excited to have a Black founder on a Black portal present this evening. And so Honor Your Flow is the name of the company. Here's some basics. And I love the way Seat at the Table does like a really, really quick snapshot. You don't have to go searching all over the place for the information on the campaigns. I love how they really make it easy to find. So minimum investment is $150. The target raise amount is $55,000, right? Mm-hmm. And currently, Cecilia has raised $6,000, a little over $6,000 with 5 total backers. So of course, she's here this evening to get to her $55,000 goal. And we are here to help her do that. Right? I'm going to show you, all of them. I'm just going to scroll so you can see all the information. You guys know my philosophy around these campaign pages. Read everything. I'll say it again. The founders spent a lot of time making sure they put just enough information, the right things that they know you need to see in order to answer the questions that you have and to present the product or service that they have and represent it perfectly. And so it's important for you to read through every single thing. Doesn't take long. A lot of questions and answers here. There's a video that's also here, but all of this information, you see this page with Cecilia and her team. And so please take the time to go through the entire campaign page for yourself, just so that you can be aware of everything that's included. As most of you know, I'm going to stop sharing. As most of you know, throughout the evening, we're going to be putting the campaign link in the chat. Actually, our admin has already done that once already. And so you just grab it there. For anyone who's new this evening, we do put our questions in the Q&A. Comment in the chat all you want, right? As Cecilia's presenting to us and wowing you with this information, feel free to encourage her in the chat. But when we get to the Q&A section, we're going to put those in the Q&A so that we can keep track of them. We don't want to miss any of your questions. Each and every one of your questions will be answered this evening, and we don't want to miss not one word of them. And so help us stay organized by putting them in the Q&A. With that said, I am going to now turn it over to Cecilia with Honor Your Flow. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm super, super excited to hear about what you're doing and learning about this new industry for us, a femtech. It is our first femtech company that we will be putting potentially in all of our portfolios. And so that's always exciting to hear about a new industry. So I got my listening ears on and I got my pen and paper ready because I too am a potential investor. And so the floor is yours, my dear.
Thank you so much. And then thank you so much for everyone for being here. I was, already just kind of like perusing the comments and looking at the participants. There's 38 of you all here. So I really appreciate that. And I do want to just kind of check in. I'm in Chicago and we are like thunderstorming tonight. So if anything pops on with my internet, I have a backup, just in case things get funny. But, if I go out for a minute, that's why. I'll be right back. So let me share my screen. Okay, don't judge the bajillion tabs that I have. All right, and then let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to minimize the chat. There we go. Okay. And then do you all see on your screen a screen that has yellow at the top and white at the bottom?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Okay, just a sec. All right. So, quick agenda for the meeting. I want to give a layout and the purpose of today's meeting, overview of Honor Your Flow as a company, where we are right now, and then, Honor Your Flow, the Honor Your Flow investment and proceed plans. All right. Okay, so Honor Your Flow, we are a period apparel company. Our mantra is, kind of for you, for your period. We are about we're about helping people who have periods honor their flow, not just when they are on their periods, but actually throughout the cycle of their flow. But we're starting it out with apparel. So well, I guess even before we jump into the problem, I don't know if anyone in part, and I also have littles, so if you hear them, but I don't know if anyone is familiar with period products and the way they work, but the way they kind of work is most of them they are either underwear or leggings or something of that sort with the actual absorbency to collect your period or whatever kind of liquids are coming out sewn into the actual garment, which is amazing. I use them, I have them, they're great. However, the problem is that a lot of them come as one unit. So what does that mean? That means that when we were in quarantine, everything was good. But now that the world is opening up and, I used to work in education. So, you have those 4 minutes between classes, if you're out with, maybe your family, right? And so you don't have a lot of time to kind of literally change everything. It kind of presents a problem because if you overflow, then you literally have to take off the entire item. So imagine you're out with your family or you're at work or at your desk or maybe even making a presentation and you feel like you're about to overflow. You got to take off a whole pair of underwear, right? Or a whole pair of leggings. It's just too much. So the problem, as we saw it, was that, period products are great, but what if they can't handle your flow? So the solution that we came up with is the Honor Your Flow flexible absorbency system, and it is patent pending. And by that, we created a garment that is made in pieces so that the absorbency part of it, you can take it out, replace it, and keep going about your day. One of the great things about period products, they are reusable, right? It's good for the environment. It's good for your body, right? It's good for your wallet. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, for people who didn't want to kind of stew in their own juices all day, right? It was enough to kind of keep them from trying it. Right. So our solution has allowed people who kind of want to try period products, but don't necessarily want to be in them all day. This is a perfect solution for them. So how does it work? First, your product is about to overflow. Step 2, that's step 1. Step 2, you switch out the inner lining and you lock it in place. Again, our products are made in such a way that the liner, once you put it in there, it's locked in. It doesn't come out until you're ready to pull it out. You take out the liner, put in the new one, put the old liner into your Honor Your Flow waterproof bag. Step 4, when you get home, rinse it, put everything in the wash, put it in the dryer. You can use it all again. Remember, everything in this product is reusable, right? So you are doing all the same things that you were going to be doing on your period, but now you're reducing waste, which the plastics that are in one-time use products take up to 800 years to decompose. You are tackling that issue with this product. Some of the chemicals that come in those one-time use products, you don't have as many of those in this product. So you're doing great things for the environment. You're doing great things for your own body. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. You're actually doing great things for your wallet as well. So how it works. We're starting off with a brief, and this is, kind of a mock-up of what it'll look like, but, it'll be a little more chic than that. On the inside is that four-layer flexible absorbency system. And then the actual liner that goes in there, that's what the liner looks like on all the way to the right of your screen. I'm going to go on to the next one. Oh, actually, no, because I want to explain this this absorbency system a little bit better. So these 4 layers, I absolutely love them. So the first one is a mesh layer. It's going to pull the liquid in and help distribute it to that second layer, which is a dimpled absorbency layer, number 1. The second layer is a bamboo absorbency. So you have double layers of absorbency. So I promise you, what goes in this pad, y'all, it is not coming out. And then this last layer right here is a waterproof layer so that whatever goes in the pad, in the liner, it stays there and it won't get on your clothes. So it's pretty fantastic. And we're currently, we have gone through 6 prototypes. I have tried every single one of them. I've had no accidents, right? And I, as the founder, you kind of do the most to make sure that your product is working as well as it's supposed to. I've worn them all day. I've worn them 12+ hours just to see like, okay, is this girl really going to work? It works. It traps that liquid. It traps odor, right? And it doesn't allow it to go through on your clothes. So let's talk about the actual market opportunity. So as far as people who have periods, I think functionally, this is closest to people who use pads, right? Everybody, there's different ways that you can kind of manage your cycle. Some people use pads, some people use tampons, some people use a cup or a ring or things of that sort. But functionally wise, because we have that actual liner, it's closest to a pad. So when we were thinking about our market opportunity, we actually zeroed in on people who are using pads to manage their periods. So in the US, there are estimated 51.68 million pad users. The average spending in the US for period spending per person is at $159. You do that 51.68 million by $159 per year, that's 8.2 billion yearly in pad spending. Our goal is 0.6 of that market. So that's 310 users in 5 years. Let's look at what that looks like, from the economics. So we are planning in our first year to sell at least 12,000 units. Then what does that look like? So we have website sales, we have, active Instagram, active Facebooks. And so, you can do advertising through theirs. I live in Chicago. I'm very active in Chicago. And so there are a lot of opportunities for pop-ups and things of that sort in Chicago. And I am, part of this fundraising is so that I can go to every single one of them, right? Like literally getting onto your flow in front of people. And so our goal for that first year is 12,000 units, which would put us at $240,000 in revenue. This is with average cost per item of $25. I'm still kind of working it out with my manufacturer. Are we going to do 25? Are we going to do 29? Right? Like you really have to kind of do the cost analysis, right? Of what it makes the most sense to charge. And so, so that's our first year. Year number 2, again, we're growing. And our goal for that year is 36,000 units, right? Which you're kind of doing those same things, but also just kind of ramping it up, being able to bring on, other people to help us build this business. And so those at 36,000 units, it takes us to $720,000, right? And then in the red, you kind of see what the profit would be from that. Kind of moving on to years 3, 4, and 5. Moving up to 100,000 units, then 250,000 units, then 310,000 units. And we're all about kind of getting our faces in front of folks everywhere we can. So even things, I don't know if you all follow, things like Essence Fest, right? Like going to the places where the actual people are and really getting on your flow in front of the people. The physical element, partnering with local and then national places along with our online presence, right, is how we think how we're going to be able to meet these goals in 5 years. Our business model, and I kind of talked about that a little bit already, starting with social media advertising, direct consumer sales, retail pop-ups that, we're going to nurture so that they can turn into permanent placements. And then this is much more, closer to that 5-year mark, but the Honor Your Flow Flowmobile, right? Almost kind of like a food truck, but for menstrual wellness, right? Again, I said it at the beginning, Honor Your Flow isn't just about selling a product, but also kind of educating the community on how you can honor your flow so that you can have a better period. Because one thing, if you don't know, about your cycle and your period is that when you actually menstruate, for that 3 to 7 days throughout the month, that's actually the end of a cycle. There's a whole month of things that kind of go into how your cycle plays out. And so the product that we're offering targets those 3 to 7 days, but the education that we're offering is going to target those other 21 days so that you can have the best flow and have, kind of the happiest flow that you can. All right, of course, if you're trying to build a business, you have to look at the competition. There's Thinx and Ruby Love, Dear Kate, NYX, IO Proof. There's a lot of really great brands out there. But of the brands that, I really feel like are the major competition, those are the two in the middle, IO and Ruby Love. Ruby Love, I've tried their stuff before. It's great, but I actually think quality-wise that ours is a little bit better. Actually, I think ours is a lot better. And then IO, their stuff is great also, but it's also pretty pricey. One thing that, just kind of talking within my network about people's hesitations with trying period products is, it can get pretty expensive. With IO, their products, the average is above $40. And, don't get me wrong, that number will pay for itself, throughout the years. But, a lot of times that's a big investment to make the first time. And so we really want to price our items such that, it's still reflective of the quality of the material, the material and the craftsmanship and, the IP that we've put into this, but also make it accessible to as many people as possible. Traction. I have put in over $40,000 of my own funds to date to really to make this happen. I believe in this product. I've worked on this product. I use similar products, so I know that there is a market for this. I've done in 2020, I did $5,300 in crowdfunding, and then last year I was a Black Ambition grant semifinalist. Black Ambition is the grant company that Pharrell started for Black founders. And so, unfortunately, I didn't make it to the end, but I definitely became a semifinalist and was able to, get mentorship and talk to other entrepreneurs and really kind of help level up the business that way. So plan usage of funds, right? Like for all my investors, it's like, okay, that sounds great, but like, what are you going to do with this money? Okay. So the first thing is that we're actually going to manufacture our very first product. I have been developing and manufacturing this, over the years. But when it comes to manufacturing, you don't, it's not like when you go to the store and you can buy like one bottle of lotion or, or something like that. When you talk to a manufacturer, they have minimums. So I can't really ask them like, hey, can you make 2 smalls and 3 mediums? You have to make at least 25 smalls, or you make 50 mediums and things of that sort. So this fundraising is going to help us with that first manufacturing run because, we are size inclusive. And so we go from extra small to 3XL right now. And so imagine 25 units from extra small to 3XL, right? Like that can get kind of pricey. And so this investment will help with that. The packaging, we've already kind of designed it, but you have to purchase those things, which, will go into the purchase price. But the packaging for product number 1, marketing and fees for sale booths, style number 2, development, something that I hear about often, with businesses is, kind of, if you're not growing, you're dying. So literally when we launch product number 1, we are moving into style number 2, right? Because we want to keep on growing. We want to hire someone for social media and marketing so that to get some help with that. Also going to conferences to get more people, get more people to know about Honor Your Flow, online order fulfillment and customer service, product imaging, photo shoots and models. And then kind of the really, really big one that I'm working with my manufacturer right now is actually developing our own fabric. So the patent that we have right now is a design patent, but kind of the big players in this industry, they have their own fabric absorbent fabric that they've patented. So the one we have right now, it works amazingly, don't get me wrong, but like taking that up a notch would be actually creating your own thing. And so this investment is going to help with that. This is our team. It's myself, our founder and CEO. Well, I'm the founder and CEO. We're working with the Stars Design Group. They are our designers who are really helping us bring this vision to fruition. I have an advisor, Derek Lewis. He has advised several successful startups. He also founded a school in New York. he's the co-president of the Bronx Community Foundation. The Slack, his law group, that we have our legal together. And then I'm working with Color Code Consulting. They really they work with me on the branding, right? Just to make sure that, everything that we're kind of putting out into the world is a cohesive brand and image. And then last but not least, we have our Honor Your Flow ambassadors. These are people in my personal network who have kind of committed, it's about 20 people in my personal network who have committed to, kind of be the eyes and ears on the ground to help us kind of build this company. At this point, we're very grassroots, right? And so all those grassroots things really grow from word of mouth, and like a friend telling a friend, like, hey, like, have you tried this company? Have you tried their new product? And so we have the Honor Your Flow ambassadors who, as we are prototyping and when we finally kind of get our final product, can be, those first people who are getting on social media going, hey, I got this new thing, it's great, you might want to try it out, to really kind of bring other people along. So that is Honor Your Flow, folks. Let me see, I'm gonna, if you have any questions, please do pop them in. Okay, I see there's some stuff in the chat. Okay,
very good. A lot of conversation going on in the chat, and a lot of support from our brothers, which I love to see. So thank you guys. I was nervous that when the men started coming in and saw what tonight's pitch was about, they'd be like, oh my God. But so we have mature brothers here that understand a good investment opportunity when they see one, because I didn't see anybody pop in and pop out, which I was so happy about. Please go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A. The thing I'm going to love about tonight's conversation is it gives us an opportunity to have a real honest conversation, right? Because this is an investor discussion, but it's important that we understand the real impact that a monthly cycle has, right? So that everyone really understands how important what you're doing is. As I was watching this, I thought, because I'm a little older, I know I don't look it. People always say you don't look it, but I am. And I don't mind sharing that I actually went through menopause early. So I haven't had a cycle for quite a while. But when I did, when you talk about self-esteem during that time of the month, like bottom of the barrel, like you were so self-conscious about every move you made and what you put on and how far away from, a bathroom you were able to go to, right? Like you thought about everything for that, however many days, because it varies for, however many days you may have been on. And it was, for me, it wasn't about the, a lot of women talk about the pain. I didn't have that, but I had a heavy, heavy flow. And products like this weren't around, right? At least if they were, I didn't know about them, right? I think there was like this cup thing that I thought was absolutely insane and never tried, but that was like the only option I remember having, right? And so when I tell you this is amazing, I'm super, super excited about the opportunity you're giving to women to be able to be comfortable, right? And not feel like there's some kind of scarlet letter being put on us for this period of time where we can't be free. And so being able to create something that allows us to be free and walk around and be confident and, and show our Black magic every moment of every day, right? I salute you for that, because I can tell you, I sure wish this was around when I would have been a customer and not just an investor. So kudos to you, Cecilia.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, it's been my pleasure to work on it, and even kind of offer something for myself that I can use, right? Because I think like most entrepreneurs, if the product grows out of a pain point that you have, and it's like, I would wear the things, and it's like, okay, don't feel like taking everything off, but that's just the option that you have,
right?
And so I know, right? They say you just did her commercial. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Thank you for that. Okay, so
we'll edit this part and send it over to your marketing team.
Please.
So let me go ahead and read a few of these questions for you.
Yeah.
So Jessica said, you said the liners are washable. However, eventually they will wear out. What's the life cycle of a liner? Wonderful question.
Yeah, so definitely definitely a wonderful question. I think very, very conservatively, 2+ years, and I really want to say 3+. Everything that I have as it relates to reusable period items, I've had for 3+ years, and I'm working, with the same manufacturers that are producing the athleisure that is out in the world right now. And so, like I said, I've had mine for I want to say, I've had mine for 3 years now. And so I think I want to say 3 years, but, I'll say 2.5 to be conservative, but I actually think even longer than that. Like we take that's part of, I've spent a lot of time in development. And part of that is why, right? Like using this elastic versus that elastic, because this one's going to wear out. That one is not. This one's a little bit stronger, so it's gonna be able to hold this up a little more, and not that one, right? Like all of those sort of things go into the design, go into the liner, so that it can last like as absolutely long as possible. And it'll be one of those things, just part of the customer service of a business is that, if somebody reaches out and says, hey, like this didn't last, those 2.5 years, come on, send it back, right? Like we will absolutely replace it so that, so that our customers are always getting what they need, because like this is here to kind of it's here to hold your period. So if it's not working, like, that's an emergency.
Right. Oh, interesting, because I was going to ask, will you be able to buy, like, my brain went to refills. Like, will you be able to buy liners separately?
Yeah. So it's funny. Me and the manufacturers, because they're there to like help me build a product, but they also think about the cost, right? And so something that we're already kind of thinking about is that, so the underwear, we're starting with underwear, but we really are we'll be branching out into like all types of apparel. But the first underwear will come, with the underwear, and a liner or two as one package. But then another set of packaging will just be a package of liners. And so there's two ways that we can make money as a company, right? Because if you have someone who, maybe doesn't need as many liners, then like they're good. But for the person who has a heavier flow, you don't have to keep buying underwear. If that's not what you need, you can just buy more liners. And then, just something that you do in this industry is, you sell everything. You give everyone the opportunity to buy things individually, but like where you kind of really get the saving is like in a cycle set, right? Okay. So you give folks the opportunity to buy 1 or 3 or 7, and then there's different savings and and different experiences associated with the more that you buy.
Very good. And I've got a couple of questions that popped in my head. We've all made fun of the fact that, when it's that time of the month, you get the granny panties, right? And we all had a pair that, they weren't pretty, right? But they were functional because you knew they could potentially get damaged. Yep. Can you talk a little bit about the aesthetic? What would the aesthetic be? And kind of along that same line is, I'm a whole woman, right? And I like a support brief, right? Mm-hmm. So I like something that just kind of holds my stomach in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Is there any plan for something like that to be incorporated?
Yes. And that is also part of, why development is kind of taking a while, because like, sure. And, I won't say names, but like, there are other companies that like have a pair of underwear, slap the towel in there, and I mean, technically it works, but it doesn't look great. And so, yes, like the aesthetic of it will be, that favorite kind of brief that just like hugs you exactly the right way, is like just the teensest little like sporty, you know what I'm saying? So that, just so it kind of hugs in the right way, with a elastic band, that kind of gives you a little bit of extra hold around the top. We haven't gotten to like an actual support top yet, but that's definitely kind of, in the works for later styles. Just looking at the different ways in which we like to have our cycles. The first one will be a brief, but then the second one will be a short, right? Because everybody doesn't necessarily want to wear a brief, and you have to think about, I hope I've said it the right way, but I've tried to say like users or people with periods, because depending on how you identify, right, you may not necessarily want to wear a brief, but you're still having a period. So like those shorts would also kind of cover, the demographic of folks who are like, I love it, but I don't want it to be so feminine. Cool. We got
Very good. I love that you were thoughtful in that manner. And a good boy short is nice. I love a good short. They're so comfortable.
So comfortable.
Stephen says, is there a target age?
Yes. So for this first product, we really want to do kind of 18 plus till until menopause. There are different kind of different kind of demographic sets. Like you do have, so there, 18 plus to like menopause. And then there's like menopause, right? And then there's the teen, right? And so all of those are like places we want to branch out to, but we're starting with 18 and until menopause. And even I would say kind of during menopause, because, as I understand it, like even as you're going through menopause, like there's still things that come out. And so it can kind of, it's designed to catch all of our liquids. Mm-hmm. Some of our liquids are not always period liquids, but that is, the absorbency is the same. The odor protection and the odor control is the same, whether it's period or not.
Nice. So that again, another question, when I think about a tampon, and how it had, you go from slender to regular to super plus, right? And so will there be levels of absorbency like that, or one absorbency handles the heaviest of flow, and you don't have to have, it's just about size, it's not also about absorbency level?
Yeah. So for right now, it will be one liner that kind of handles all the absorbency levels. But I think as we are able to move into more technology with developing our own fabric, then we might be able to play around with that a little bit more. It's pretty thin already. So, usually what happens with different levels of absorbency is like the thinner ones, the thinner ones hold less liquid. Right. And so like right now we're going with, like one really thin liner that holds all the liquids. But, as we move into more products and in our own fabric, then we'll be able to kind of have that differentiation. And then also just kind of seeing like what the people are asking for. Because, everybody, if the feedback is like, nope, give us all, give us the heaviest, and we'll just, since the dimensions, the thickness doesn't change either way. Okay. We'll kind of do what the people want.
Wonderful. Anonymous says, how does the product address odor control, and how often should it be changed?
Absolutely. So the actual fabrics that we use have antimicrobial properties in them to address odor control. So it's actually built into the fabrics. And both of the absorbency layers have antimicrobials built into them already. So that kind of handles that. And then it should be changed as often. I would say after 8+ hours, like if you've been out for an entire day, maybe you can put one on at the beginning of the day. And then if you don't overflow, right, maybe change it when you get home. But, sometimes you just kind of put on something, and if it's working, you don't notice it there. So you just kind of go about your day, and then you fall asleep. Then you wake up like, oh my God, I'm still wearing it. So she can handle a lot. But definitely maybe like once or twice throughout the day. But if you have a heavier flow,
I was going to say that probably varies, right? Per user.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. You would be changing it more often.
Very good. Gerald said, I wondered if, and I see a couple of if there are questions in the chat, don't forget to put them in the Q&A. Gerald says, I wonder if the issues of overflow is a problem more prevalent with women of color or universal. Just wondering.
Yeah, so that's a really great question, Gerald. So women of color actually do experience issues with fibroids more than, and I would actually say Black women experience issues with fibroids more than women of other, kind of colors. And fibroids do cause heavier periods. So it's kind of one of those things like, technically we don't, just minus fibroids, we don't have heavier periods than other people, but because of our issues with fibroids that like doctors still can't seem to figure out, then we are having, we do tend to have heavier periods, more painful periods than other people. And that's another part of why the kind of education piece is really important for us. Like, yes, we're selling a product. We want you to buy the product, but also the education that we're talking about, how to honor your flow throughout the month. Because when you start doing the research, you realize that like what you're eating impacts your flow, what you're drinking or not drinking impacts your flow, your levels of stress impacts your flow, your levels of exercise, or or lack thereof. All of those things impact your flow. And so we're and even like your relationships, right? All of that impacts your flow. And so the education piece is around really honoring your entire flow. When you get to the actual period part, we have something for that. But throughout the month, we're trying to talk about ways that you can like make yourself a little bit healthier, right? Kind of honor what your personal body needs, so that when you get to those, 3 to 7 days, you experience it in a way that feels a little bit better.
I love that you're incorporating the education, because my issue was fibroids. And so my flow was, when I tell you heavy, it was heavy.
Yep.
And when you go to the doctors, doctors want to do doctor stuff, right? So they want to take stuff out, right? Or they want to experiment with all the cool procedures that they've read about in their medical books, and they need a guinea pig, right? So we become that for them, right? And which was my situation, which is why now I don't have a cycle. But to be able to provide more options for women, especially women of color, because we do have these problematic cycles as a result of fibroids. This is something that I want, everyone who does not have a cycle, for sure, I want you guys to understand that what is happening tonight is huge, because these solutions, even though there were some other competitors on the competitor slide, there is a market for this, right? And this is something that is absolutely needed. We need better solutions to allow us to have all of the options covered, not just surgical options that eliminate the flow. And so I'm so excited about this. When we get to that call to action, y'all know I'm telling y'all to share this link with everybody, okay? Because I am so excited. Stephanie says, is this product going to expand for other bodily fluids? And I saw that comment in the chat also, was could you use it for incontinence?
Oh yeah, and I kind of mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier. I talked about like all the different fluids that come out of us. So absolutely. I don't shout that to the mountaintops as of yet, because just being transparent, we haven't tested it for incontinence yet. So I don't want to go making all these proclamations before I've actually done those tests. But yes, right, like the odor protection, right, the antimicrobial factors also work with urine, right? Like the super absorbency also works with urine. And so we like just literally have not done those tests yet. We're just trying to get this product launched. But again, like once you kind of get one thing done, like you move right on to the next. And so that is, testing that's on the way. But, like I said, I don't want to speak early on it because I haven't done the test yet.
Very good. Eddie says, hi, Cecilia. I've seen flow somewhere before, but not sure where. Yeah. So glad you brought it to family. Are there any plans to market to the sports arena? I see this as a perfect endurance type of product that could improve performance times or similar through not having to pause for relief. I know sounds a bit different, but could be effective dual function and prove to be an essential for some sports. Eddie, I like the way you're thinking, Eddie.
Eddie, absolutely. Like, are you kidding? We want to go straight to the WNBA. And really, like WNBA is great, but really the NCAA, like that's where it is. But no, absolutely. Right. There are, everything that you said, right? Like the example that I used was you have 4 minutes in between classes, but like how many seconds do you have between plays? Right. If you are a dancer, right, and you're doing a performance, how many, minutes do you have between scenes? So absolutely, like this is, again, we don't want to like get ahead of ourselves, but like, as far as like the plan, oh my God, yes. With that, you want to, we have to maybe change the actual design and aesthetic a little bit to be a little bit more to be sports friendly, although you could wear a brief, you can wear the brief in the sports, but sports sports apparel and things, tend to look just a little bit different. But absolutely. One of my Honor Your Flow ambassadors, her background is in marketing, and we are having those conversations, right? Like right now we're literally just trying to like get this girl out the door. But yeah, we're already thinking about like, okay, like who can we market to, right? Like who could benefit from this product? And absolutely, people who have periods, who play sports, who have to like move like that. This is absolutely perfect for them.
Wonderful. Sharnetta says, where can the product currently be purchased?
Yes, so thanks for that question, Sharnetta. It can't yet. This fundraise that we're doing is to help us launch our first product. So that's why this is such a big deal, because we are literally the funds that you all hopefully will invest will help us launch this to the world. When it does launch, it will be able to be purchased through our website and through our social media. But right now, she is pre-purchased, which is why we're here today.
Wonderful. And so right now we've got 62 people on, right? Y'all do the math. Cecilia is trying to raise $55,000 to get her to the next phase of production. And she already has 6,500. So y'all do the math, right? And we know what we need to do, right? If just the 62 of us see this campaign, what we need to do to help her be successful. This is a big deal. Okay. Ayana says, Ayana in the chat said she was an investor with Nick. So Ayana says, I know with Nick, they carry light, medium, and super absorbency. And they also have super leak-proof cheeky, high-rise thong, and leak-proof boy short.
Yes. Okay. So you see all the places this can go.
It can go, yeah.
There's a lot of room there for us to, just kind of develop styles on styles on styles on styles. And everything that you said was all underwear, right? Like we didn't even get into the apparel side. So, there really are a lot of opportunities there for, the same technology, right? Because it's the same thing, just kind of operating in different styles. Like anything that's a bottom, right? Even, like in my dreams is like the Honor Your Flow bodysuit. Whereas, bodysuit on top, but like period protection on the bottom, right? Like there's a lot of different places you can go with this. But first we just got to get started.
Love it. Jesse says, the topic is such a personal space that usually takes place in female circles. That translates to word of mouth. Can that opportunity be converted to direct sales opportunity and provide income for those capable? Think Mary Kay, Tupperware, etc.
Absolutely. So my best friend actually owns a bakery, right? And she just kind of hosts little events there where, people are coming together sometimes to kind of talk about, actually it usually is around a specific topic, but there's always kind of, a vendor or two there who's just kind of talking about what they offer and, kind of getting the other women and the other users kind of into it. So absolutely. I really do think that, just because we're a newer company, that like our first sales are going to be that word of mouth Mary Kay type of, hey girl, I tried this thing. Maybe you should try it too, right? And I think, there's a lot of different ways and creative ways that you can do that, right? Like for first-time customers that like refer somebody, like they get points or they get discounts, things of that sort. Because I think that our first 100,000, our first million is going to be because people are telling other people.
Mm-hmm. Anonymous says, how much will the product retail for and where will it be manufactured?
Yep. So that I'm working with my manufacturer now. It would just make my dreams come true if I could do it for 25. My manufacturer's like, you might want to consider at least 29. Okay, like we're here to make money. And so somewhere between 25 and like 29. Our first run, and we call our first production run is going, I don't want to say unfortunately, but our first production run is going to be in the US. Everything in the US costs more money.
A little bit more, right?
Yeah. But, just as far for getting those first sales, getting proof of concept. We're going to do our first manufacturing run here in the US, but me and my manufacturers are kind of already having that conversation. Like, all right, number one is in the US just to kind of get it out into the world. And then we're moving overseas. The lead time with doing things overseas right now, my manufacturer told me is 180 days. So it's kind of one of those things where we want to launch here in the, in the US, because I can get that pretty quickly. And literally as we place that order, like put in the order for the overseas ones, because it's going to take at least 180 days. We got to get samples back and forth, because this will be my first time working with an overseas vendor. And so it's just a bit of a longer process. So long story long, first run will be in the US, and then our subsequent runs will be overseas.
So retail 25 to 29, how much are you, what's your cost to make the product, one unit?
Yeah, so pardon me. So our cost will be between $8 to $10.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And that's another big reason why we want to go overseas, because when you go overseas, you can kind of get those costs down.
Right.
Of course you have to do higher volume, which is fine, because it ends up evening out. I do the higher volume, but it costs me less, so I'm kind of paying the same overseas as I would here, but it just takes so much more.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think your manufacturer's right with the $29. I think, yeah. I think so. Stephen says, will the packaging by, I don't know what you're starting to say here. Will the packaging by generation, male appropriate, like kind of cool, not like when I used to go to the store look for, so what will the packaging look like, so that when your husband or your father or your boyfriend goes to the store, for you, they're not embarrassed, right? Trying to put it up under their arm so nobody sees what they have. I think that's what Stephen's asking.
For sure. So our first kind of package design has people on it. And it's depictions of different people kind of honoring their flow. My vision for the first round is having these different folks who kind of represent different types of people, right? So, there's someone on there who's like super femme, and then there's someone over there who's got, who's masculine. There's someone on there with like piercings, and there's someone with like super flowy hair, and then like the high button, like just the different ways in which we show up in the world. Those folks will be depicted on the box. It will say something about periods, unfortunately. So we kind of can't get around that, because I do want people to like know what they're buying, but it isn't, our goal with this is to almost kind of make it kind of artsy, right? So I think that if, someone is picking it up from the store, that it'll be kind of, look at that cool, what's that cool box you have? That looks kind of cool, and then they go, oh, this is for periods,
Nice.
Yeah.
Gerald says this could assist with older age women that have issues with diverticulitis.
Yep. Absolutely. That is, again, our first kind of target market is, those kind of like 18 plus to like menopause, like around menopause, but like, absolutely, right? I said it earlier, not to be gross, but like, we leak a lot of things. So, as at different stages in your life, when things are just kind of coming out of your body, just, kind of when you're experiencing your natural flow, right? This is here to kind of support us at all of those levels.
Very good. Jesse says, have you explored contracts with federal, state, and county instead of single sales?
Thank you, Jesse. That's such a good question. So not yet. I'm literally trying to get this product out the door. But I mean, before the work that I'm doing now, I used to work with Chicago Public Schools. And so I know all about the vendors, and like, that is a whole like source of income, being a vendor with a school, right? Being a vendor with a government agency. And so it's definitely kind of one of those things, that's just kind of percolating back here, because, you do have, like state agencies. You also have your sports and athletic teams, and to the extent that you can, you absolutely want to kind of get plugged in with all of those. Of course, kind of doing, at least for us at this moment, it would kind of be one at a time, because you also, every partnership and deal, we would just want to make sure that we do it in excellence. But also that's another part of like raising money, and also really just trying to get this product out here, so that, as we continue, like maybe we can have those multiple hires, so that we can have, hands in both pots kind of negotiating that, but we're not there yet.
I like that. I just envisioned, again, I told you how old I am. I don't know if this is a thing anymore, but I just envisioned, used to have the little machine where you could just get like one tampon out or one pad out. Mm-hmm. I just envisioned like a single, just, one panty.
And so the thing is, and I'm so for it, like the really unfortunate thing is that in a lot of states right now, period items are still seen, like we still get the luxury tax when you buy, you know, your feminine hygiene things, you get a luxury tax on it. Isn't that trifling? But it's moving, and a lot of kind of more forward companies like Google and Facebook are moving to free period products offered at their offices. And so that's a thing, you know, as we kind of like get ourselves together, that we really want to kind of look into, because if you have an entire company that's providing free feminine hygiene products to their employees, then they're buying in bulk from you.
Right.
So yeah, no, that's absolutely something. You know, there's a couple of companies, you know, the ones that I've seen so far have been more, you know, single use items. But I've seen other companies that are in my space do it. And so it's just kind of figuring out a way that can make sense for us.
Good, very good. Gerald says, have you pitched any OBGYNs? They would be good endorsers for this product. Yes,
not yet. You know, we've been working so much on the design, but not yet. It's kind of one of those, one of the things that's like on the to-do list, because some of the other companies that I've seen that, you know, have been doing pretty well, you know, have that kind of like check, like OBGYN endorsed, and it definitely does make a difference. So, you know, thank you for bringing that up again. And it's actually something that we are looking to do, just to kind of add to the marketability of our product.
Ayana says, oh, I think she's referring to Knix again, that they also have bras to match the panties. So again, showing the how far this could go, you know, how far this can go. We're not just talking about a panty. Panty is phase one. We're talking about this all types of apparels. Ayana says your price is right between 20 to 30 for panties, and bras are 25 to 40.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you, Ayana, for that. Jessica says, what's your exit plan?
Yeah, so it's funny that you asked that, because that's literally like a tug of war that me and my advisor are doing right now. At this point, I'm like, well, I'm here to start the company and grow the company, and, you know, like, let's go as far as we can. And he was like, but what about when Nike comes and wants to buy it? And I'm like, I'm not selling it. He was like, girl, let's have that conversation later. So you know, just truthfully speaking, I am going, not to say that I am like fully unwilling to sell the company. Like, I don't think that is a wise position for me to take as a founder. But I will say that I am not starting this company with the idea to like sell it to somebody else. However, I am a businesswoman, right? You know, I am working with investors who are also business people. And that is part of, you know, the board that we're building for Honor Your Flow, so that there are a number of people in the room who, when, you know, we get that offer, that's like, whoo, that's a good offer, you know, that we can all kind of sit together. And I trust myself, but, you know, I'm already kind of assembling a board of people with different, you know, from different industries and with different thoughts, so that, you know, if the time comes that it is time, you know, to exit, to sell the company, that we can have a fruitful discussion about, does that make sense? Does that make sense for the company? Does that make sense for the investors? And really, you know, kind of do what's best for all of us.
Very good. Ayana's asking the time frame. I don't think I talked about when the campaign is ending. How much time is left in the campaign?
Yes, we are live until the end of October.
Okay. Yep. Very good. And Jesse said, and I just want to go over that again. So to date, Cecilia has raised $6,500 of the $55,000 goal that she has. And as we've talked about, that $55,000 will be used to, you know, produce and manufacture this, right? She's got to get to MVP to actually have, instead of having a beautiful slide showing what it's going to look like, to be able to hold something up, right? And so, you know, that is the goal here, is to help this founder get to that $55,000. You know, we've seen founders looking to raise $1 million and $5 million and all of that. And when you see those numbers, 55 seems hella doable, right? I mean, it seems hella doable. And so that is the mission we are on for this founder, is to help her, you know, the road to 55K, to help her get to the next phase of this, because what she's doing is amazing, you know, for all of the wives, mothers, daughters, you know, girlfriends, you know, significant others, all of those things. I mean, this is these are products that we need to see, and we need to see more than one or two of them as options on the shelf. We need to see them in abundance the way we see other products. You know, there are what maybe 20 types of tampons, right? 20 types of pads. I mean, there's, you know, we deserve to see more than just one or two companies that are doing what Cecilia's doing. Jesse says, can you envision menstrual maintenance mobile for sign on truck or van?
Yeah. So the idea, mine, I was thinking the Honor Your Flow mobile. So I wrote that down on menstrual maintenance mobile. So yes, all ideas are on the table.
That's right. I like an Honor Your Flow mobile. I love that.
I love it. Thank you, Jesse.
I love that it's like a nonprofit arm, right? Where you go out into the community, and do something for people who can't afford these products, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's so, again, I try not to talk too much about the things that aren't that fleshed out yet, but that's, just something that we're also kind of considering, having, like, we just haven't decided, honestly, but like, what will the give back component be of the company? I have none of that fleshed out yet, but there absolutely has to be, right? Like, period poverty is a thing, where people are not able, like, there's literally not able to afford their period products. And so it really kind of almost, it becomes like a social justice sort of thing, where you are providing for those who, the system is broken where people cannot, afford their feminine hygiene products, but It is what it is at this moment. And so, we really do have an obligation to give back. And so we're figuring that out now, what that looks like, the Honor Your Flow give back. I just don't know. And so
as a founder, it means more to me that we need it than it means to me that you've had fleshed out the idea yet. Like, from an investor standpoint, knowing that my founder knows it's important is the most important thing. And take your time fleshing it out, because that means you'll do it right? And it'll be purposeful and intentful and meaningful to the recipient. So that says a lot about who you are as a founder and as a person. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Jackie says, have you considered maybe in the future to partner with other Black-owned female product company and even Popcom? So it's funny because it made me think of, what's the name of the is it Honeybee?
Oh, the Honey Pot.
Honey Pot. It made me think of that. I thought about Honey Pot. Yep. And then Popcom. So I don't know if you know who Dawn Dixon is. So Dawn Dixon, Popcom is company name. She's got like AI enabled vending. It's amazing sister who has raised $1 million like 5 times via equity crowdfunding. She's an amazing woman. She was here on 10K maybe 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
But she's been raising for the last, since 2018 is when I invested in her company. So she's been raising for a while, and every year she does like another $1 million. So she definitely understands equity crowdfunding, but her machines are, smart vending machines. She had her first company was called Flat Out of Heels, where in airports, you could get that little slipper.
Yeah,
that was one of her first companies from a vending standpoint.
Nice. So I hadn't heard of her, but or Popcom, I definitely will look into that. And like, oh my God, yes, I absolutely want to partner with other Black, women founders. Yes. Yes. I cannot say it enough. Yes.
That's why we got to get you this panty made, so that you can put it in some vending machines.
Yes. Oh, yes. God. So it's already like, it's already been created. There is another company called Happy Period, and they're a nonprofit, and they do all types of feminine hygiene things, but they created a vending machine, a period product vending, and it's free. And so, you know, like go get in one of the vending machines, but you like it's out there. And so it really is about, you know, kind of getting the product launched so that it can get out there.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, yes, I want to, yes, I would absolutely want to partner with other, you know, Black women founders. Yes.
Love that. Ayana says maybe you can get a contract with Walmart or Amazon later on as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all of those things are great options, right? We just got to get a product. We got to get a product to give all of these people. We got to get to the road to $55,000. That's what we got it. We got to get that. We got to get on that highway.
Yeah.
Stephen says, just brain picking. Did this vision start for you as a little girl, teenager, young adult, or as a grown woman? I grew up with my mom and 3 sisters, and I love them. This seems like an idea as a little girl. You'd be like, how can I make this part of my life, but kind of pleasing to growing? As a man, I'm pretty sure I'm going to invest. Beautiful thing.
Oh, thanks so much, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, I really do appreciate you saying that. So it's funny. It actually came to me as a grown woman. One thing that, you know, and I'm sure, you know, for anyone on the call who's like had a child, I have had children, and I've lived in this body my whole life, but I think you meet your body in a different way when you get pregnant. And the way you experience the outside world changes when you get pregnant. And I just remember like feeling, you know, the things that I was putting on and in my body felt different. And like, I don't want to, you know, like be dramatic, but like I could feel when something was not healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like I drink something, I'm like, oh, that's not good. You know? And so I really, you know, you become a little bit more, yes. Oh, yes, Sharnetta, there's so many prototypes. I got another prototype in the mail the other day, you know, sent back some edits and we get another one. But yeah, so, you know, just when I was going through that time, you become increasingly aware of, you know, just the impact of what you're putting on your body and what you're putting in your body. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I just started thinking about what I'm putting in my body, right? Like, you know, with tampons and pads and things of that sort. And just, you know, you kind of start wondering, like, is there a better way? And so, you know, I found the products that were already out there, which, you know, they work great. But then it becomes that issue of like, but if I want to change this, like, I got to change the whole thing. I don't want to do that, you know, like, can we do this better? And so it just kind of grew from there. But yeah, definitely kind of grew out of a need. And you know, part of, you know, it's taken a few years to kind of get this design together because yeah, like you absolutely, your period can be this thing that like is awful and dreaded, but like it doesn't have to be, you know, like depending on how you take care of your body throughout your cycle, that'll change the way that you experience your period. I started running in college and I noticed the more that I ran and just kind of did physical exercise, I experienced my cycle differently, right? Same thing, but, you know, just like drinking water and, you know, and stuff like that. And then, you know, just, I hope it's not, you know, TMI, but like sometimes when you're on your cycle, like you don't necessarily want to like poke things in, you know, it's like, it's too much. My body's doing too much. You're
right. And I think it's okay to, you know, I didn't tell you all my business tonight, right? So I think it's okay to have an honest conversation about it. Think about young women who have cycles early, right? I know with my nieces, I didn't want them using tampons early. That wasn't a thing for me, right? So then they're walking around with this bulky pad on, which wasn't good for them, right? You know, as a young woman in school and playing sports and all the things we've already talked about. So, you know, this is a real challenge for a lot of women. And you're right. We don't have to be stressed during that time, right? Life is stressful enough. Right. We don't have to add that extra stress on it. And it does. It's an extra level of like, oh, here we are again, right? It's back already, right? Right. Well, they used to call it Aunt Flo, right? You know, Aunt Flo is back already. I mean, it's just like it does add a layer of anxiety. And we're trying to be healthy mentally and physically. I mean, and it's hard to do that when you're worried about, you know, can I wear white? You know, I have been there even as a teenager in high school. I remember I had an incident with white pants, and it wasn't pretty, right? And it's one of those things that could have scarred me, right? And I'm sure that has happened to a lot of people, and it may have scarred them. We just have to start coming up with solutions that fix these problems, and you've done that, right? So you've done the heavy lifting, right? I think our job is the easy job, supporting you. You're the one out there on the phone all day and night talking to manufacturers and trying to figure out the solutions to get it to market. Our job as, potential investors, I think, is the easiest of the jobs. And so, we know what we need to do in order to get this product to market. You've told us, right? You need $55,000, about $49,000 more, to help you get to the next phase of what production looks like. And so, please add any additional questions in the Q&A if you have any before we cover our call to action. We want to answer all questions that you have, because the goal is to remove barrier of entry, right? So, we always tell you to do your due diligence, right? I'm not going to say anything different here this evening. Do your due diligence. Make your own determination on if this investment opportunity fits in your portfolio. I can tell you I don't have any femtech in mind. And so that's nice that this is a new industry, but do your due diligence. What I am going to ask you for from a call to action is, please share this campaign. I say the same thing every week because the mission is always the same. That's the coolest thing about the 10K project, right? When you come to the Bet on Black pitch, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get exposed to an amazing and innovative investment opportunity, right? You're going to be asked to share the heck out of that campaign, and you're going to be told to do your due diligence. There are no tricks here. There are no secrets. This is full transparency. Here we are again tonight, an amazing Black founder, right? Solving a real problem that affects millions of people. And so we are here to support that mission. And so please share this campaign link. The more eyes that see this campaign, the greater the odds that Cecilia will meet and exceed her goal, right? Meet and exceed her goal. So that's what we're putting out there in the universe, that she's going to exceed her goal. Yes. So please share this campaign, take it and share it now. I know we had some questions. I'll actually talk about this a little bit. Yeah. And we had some questions from a couple of community members that said, what's the best way to share a campaign? Like, can you give us a link? Can you give us that? You can take our link and you can share it, right? And I know for our admin, I know we even created something that we could send out. And so we're going to post something also on our Facebook page that will allow you to copy and share. You can't share it straight from the Facebook page because the page is private. Or from the group, because the group is private, but we're going to give you something, just kind of an infographic that lets you share it easily. Oh, hold on, Cecilia, you have something?
Well, and I also, just kind of in preparation for this, I created kind of it's a 70-second kind of video that talks about Honor Your Flow, how the product works, everything like that.
Nice.
So can I send that to you?
Absolutely. Okay. Send that over to me. And what we'll do is we will absolutely post that. I love that. Yes,
yeah,
we'll post that.
That's a pretty easy thing, and it says everything that I said, almost everything in 70 seconds. If you're sending it to someone who who has never met me,
right?
An overview of the company and who we are and what we're doing, so they have a little bit of context.
Perfect. So Edward, you said it best. Share. That is the call to action, is to share. We've got to help this sister get to her 55K. Cecilia, what would you like to say to take us home after such an amazing presentation?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, first, just thank you everyone for being here. I really do appreciate it. I mean, I kind of mentioned it a little while. I have kids, and so you all are really taking time out of your evenings. That may be an evening by yourself just to wind down, but it could also be an evening with family. So one, I really appreciate you kind of taking the time to, hear about Honor Your Flow. I hope that you think that this product is valuable. I hope you think, that I am a good person to kind of lead this effort. I have been working on it. I've been putting, my own money behind this for a long time because I know what this product is and what it can do and what it can be, not just for me, but for you as an investor as well. So no matter what you choose, thank you so much for being here. I absolutely hope that you can be an investor, that you will share it with your friends and family, and let's get this product launched so that we can, be part of the Honor Your Flow community together.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love it. I told y'all all my personal business. So I told you all my PHI, my TMI, all the things. But I would not have done anything differently, because I think people need to understand the importance of this. And so kudos to you. Peace and blessings, sis. Exceeding your goals is right around the corner for you. It's absolutely right around the corner for you. Your hard work shows, and I can't wait to see this on a shelf somewhere. I cannot wait.
Either. Oh my goodness. You've been working for it.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you guys for riding with us always. 10K Project would not be the same without this community. It actually wouldn't be anything without this community. And so thank you all very much for showing up tonight. And I can't wait for you to show out. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.